All right, so welcome to the day 10 of the 40 days Awakening to the Light Within meeting, trajectory, 40-day intensive. So it's not like an just a meeting kind of thing. That's interesting, isn't it? So it's like you sign up for it and you have your commitment to it and you are in it. That is at least my experience. It's like it's connected to commitment to, yes, I'm going to do this, yes. And that has a great effect. So it has a great effect. So today we look at that a little bit. And happy with everyone that's coming in still. So thank you for joining. It's great to have you here. That's really lovely. So the next that is showing up is then in fact the Monday Miracle Mind Training. And so I'm still shifting into this. You can see that. I can see still people are coming in. So there we are. We can almost start. Well, just be here, just sit. But I have to click on a button in order for you to come in. So that's a bit, I actually don't want to be bothered with it, but here it is. I can't help it either. This is the way that works. That's all right. So today, the Mind Training Monday, as I call it, we use this basically always for the early meditation or the early morning that we met. And one more. That's great. Well, it's going to be really full here. That's nice. Awesome. So bring your friends, your family, why not? That's great. And this is in all innocence that I'm sharing this, not any other reason. That's why I emphasize it too. So, Miracle Mind Training Monday. So what can we expect? Well, I started this class already with the idea of the 40 days. You made a commitment. You're going to dedicate yourself to this, to your process, to that's what's taking place in you by spending maybe a little bit more time in silence or reading Joel a little bit more than you used to, or sitting still more than ever. Praying in a different way, or coming to the meetings, and all kinds of ways to become more aware of what actually is going on with you and what is given to you and that you don't want to miss out on by letting yourself be distracted by, say, earthly things. Which is sometimes really something you have to do. So this is the 40-day period where we actually decide to be on the mountaintop and leave the world for what it is for a moment. And so that it doesn't necessarily mean that you have a quiet time. So it can stir up all kinds of things. It can stir up temptations, like Jesus when he went into the desert. Well, he had quite a program by not eating, by fasting for 40 days. That's not how far I go with it, but you could do it. But there was a commitment connected to it. It's like, you know that you have to do it. You feel it from the inside. You'll have to do this, and not as a must, but more as an I don't want to miss out on it. So the idea of commitment is actually what we're talking about, and what comes back to us in the mind training too. So all this that we do is in fact to realize all that has already taken place. And that's not past. No, it is realization. It is presence. It is enlightenment. It is that. So it's like the training that we do is in fact to come to the awareness that everything that we're looking for already has been given us. So the thing that is taking place in this process is then the undoing. And undoing is a word that you don't see that much in the Course in Miracles, for instance, but it is being said like this. It's like atonement. Atonement is the undoing, in fact, the undoing of what never was. But you made it real, and yeah, in order to have a different experience of yourself, you might as well let that fall apart. And that can be done in different ways, but the mind training of A Course in Miracles is one fast way. When I speak about my own experience with it, it's like, wow, that's the highway to have this undoing happening to you. But I can say that it is the fact, it is the question, what is your way of being undone? You know, like there's a perfect plan for everyone individually, working out so well that I totally trust what comes with that. What is inspiring you? What is resonating with you? That's where it's about. And that presents itself on a daily basis. So you choose a path that resonates with you. So, coming back to the idea of the atonement, there's something that I want to read as an introduction to the idea of commitment and atonement, the link. And so I'm going to do that right now. Then the second part where we're going to is the introduction to the 180 lessons in the Course in Miracles. And those are so very specific that it has an introduction in how to look at that. And in fact, it is a beautiful, also general way of your commitment to awakening is formulated here in a way that is very helpful to hear that. So whether you do A Course in Miracles, or whether you are completely involved in Christian Science, or whether you're completely involved in the infinite way, that is still the same in that sense. It is universal. It is that what you need in order to be to be on this path and dedicate yourself to it. So you will recognize a lot of things, because most of all, it's good to know. I'm not telling you anything you don't know, for sure. So the recognition of it brings it freshly back into your awareness, and that, yeah, that serves its function. So going back a little bit. So we started chapter 1 of A Course in Miracles. I used the Urtext of A Course in Miracles. What is A Course in Miracles? A Course in Miracles is a book, received by Helen Schuckman in the 60s, just after Joel's passing, like a couple of months later. The download for the Course in Miracles started. And it took about 7 years for it to be completed. And the Urtext is in fact the original text. It's hardly edited, and it has a lot of biblical references and all that. So there's a lot of extra information. For me, that's very helpful, because I know the Course in Miracles really well, but with all these details and all these references, like, it makes the picture complete for me, and I love to share from it, and it's very interesting to read it. At the same time, it's not only interesting to read it, but it's also things that you will have to hear. Like, you have to hear it in order to have this in full awareness and to come to a deep experience of peace. So, yeah, I would say bear with me and enjoy. I'm going to share a little bit from chapter 1 from the book. It's on page 12 of the Urtext. So the purpose of the atonement, it says here, the atonement is then the undoing, is to restore everything to you. So this is what I meant to. It's like the purpose of the atonement is to restore everything to you. Restoring. It's a remembering, a present memory. It brings you back to what you already have and what you already are. It takes away what you are not. That's the idea of undoing. That is to restore the awareness. You had everything when you were created, just as everyone did. You had everything when you were created. Having been restored to your original state, you naturally become part of the atonement yourself. Well, that is really great, because we can even translate it into using the light here. It's a bit dark in here now. So having been restored to the original state, you naturally become part of the atonement yourself. And what does that mean? Well, it is what Joel also always tells us, and what Jesus is sharing here with us is like, you will have to experience this first in order to give it away. You will have to come to the realization of it for yourself in order for it to extend it. And that is what that says. So that is so great, because it is coming to us in all different ways, in all ways. You now share my inability to tolerate. You now share my inability to tolerate the lack of love in yourself and in everyone else, and must join the great crusade to correct it. And I'll come back to this crusade. It's an interesting idea. So you now share my inability, like this is what Jesus shares, an inability to tolerate the lack of love in yourself and in everyone. So here's our, in fact, our dedication, or our what is given to us as an inspiration. Like, you cannot tolerate lack of love in yourself or in anyone. Well, that is one of the most fundamental ideas to receive healing for yourself. So I want to slow down here and stand still with this idea. It's like, you cannot tolerate, you become intolerant of perceiving lack of love in yourself or in anyone else. So this is always formulated in the not form. You cannot tolerate it any longer. That there's a lack of fear, or lack of love, in anyone. So it's a negative way of formulating it, but for a very specific reason. It is the thing you cannot do anymore. So you let it go. It is not that you have to learn something new. No, it is you cannot tolerate that any longer. You let that go, perceiving lack of love in anyone and in yourself. You know what I'm saying? So then that can come up in your awareness. So there's no lack of that anymore. You don't want to limit your perception, your vision. You don't want to limit your vision from this specific thing. Like, there's no exception to the love of God. If I'm created by God, I want to experience that. And I want to be that. And this thing that wants it to be is not it. So it's like I have to get out of the way in order to experience it. And this is what's being offered here. So you cannot tolerate a lack of love in yourself or anyone else, so that gives you the space to experience love in yourself and in anyone else and everyone else. And it's like there's no exception at the same time, no exception. So when you accept this, you become part of the atonement. And you share my inability to tolerate lack of love in yourself and in anyone else. And you must join the great crusade to correct it. The slogan for the crusade is, "Listen, learn and do. Listen, learn and do. So it's not just like, okay, I accept this, or I hear what you say. So like, no, I wanna bring that in for myself. Like, I want to learn that. I want to learn that, to be aware that I don't have to tolerate that any longer. Lack of love in myself, lack of love in others. And this is what I'm practicing. This is what I'm giving. This is what I'm doing. This is how I think. This is what what I extend to everyone. So it's like then the great crusade, as it is here, starts. Because you actually start to demonstrate this. You teach this. Joel has a word for that too. It's like you... well, demonstrating is one thing. You demonstrate it. You literally practicing it. That's maybe a good word, like practicing. You're practicing it. You bring that in all situations. You start to really apply it. Walk the talk. This means, so listen, learn and do. This means listen to my voice. So listen to this still small voice. Learn to undo the error. Learning to undo the error and do something to correct it. And do something to correct it. Wow. So the first two are not enough. Listen to my voice, learn to undo the error, and do something to correct it. So we don't... It's like the first two, listening to my voice and learning to undo the error, is not enough. Do something to correct it. So we come back to this. So the part is listening to the voice. That is an activity that we practice a lot with meditation, with having quiet times during the day, taking time to step out of your regular day, so to speak, and come to yourself, however you say that, or pray, all this. So that part, you want to pick that up right from the start. So then, here the second part is then this: learn to undo the error. So that's a tricky part in that sense. Like, learning to undo the error basically is becoming willing to have a change occur. Become willing to let that occur, to let yourself be undone, like allowing that to take place. So it is not that you have to correct yourself, but you have to allow the undoing to take place. And what does that mean in daily life words, so to speak? How do you do that? How do you do that? Like, how can I let myself be undone? Well, that's not so difficult. If you are realizing, like, you have the idea coming to you that you're in a dream, and that by your confirmation of anything, of validation of anything, you start to make something real that in fact is not real. So here's the thing. You don't have to do that. You don't have to confirm anything of its existence, whether that's persons, whether that's objects, whether that's situations, whether that's emotions. In fact, you don't have to validate that. And we're so used to doing that, sure, but you don't have to do that. So if anything comes up, what you feel, what is your idea about yourself, how your day is, or how this person is, all that, then in fact you can stop right there. You don't have to say make that real for yourself. So it's like, so what? This person does that. This person said that. That situation is like this. The weather is like this. This is like that. Like, so what? Does it say anything about our true nature? No, it's not. No. So I can let myself be distracted by anything, sure. But here it is like, no, we want to listen, learn, and do. So do something to correct it is then, well, not letting that occur again. So it's like, I'm going to experiment here with it. I'm not going to respond immediately to confirm something a person shares with me, or something that he wants me to see necessarily from him, or all kinds of ways. You know, you constantly are in fact asking for validation, even in your, say, existence. You want to be validated in it. You want to make sure that you are seen, that you are heard, and that you have a place here. I'm not saying that that's bad or anything. It is just, it doesn't have anything to do with your true nature. That is the difference. So if you want to be validated here, so to speak, well, that's fine. There's a whole world that is looking for that. Go ahead and have your time. This is not that. It's like you start a crusade, and in fact, it's like it's a silent crusade where you're not going to validate all that, where you're not going to confirm all of it. And set yourself free, and others too. Set yourself free of it all the time. So this is very closely and practically related to the idea of commitment. It's like, well, commitment to come to a meeting, yeah, sure, that's great too. That can be a real great start, absolutely. So to say stay with your commitment and persevere in it is another step. So it's like the edges of your commitment are, say, moving further and further, broadening. That really does not stop, I can tell you that. Like, that seems to be expanding all the time in totally different ways that you cannot foresee, but it's taking place. And that means that you start to dedicate yourself on a deeper way to this, like continuously. You can have a moment that you, say, go into a little detour, but then you will return back here and start to renew that commitment. So this goes up and down, or it can go up. It really depends on you in this sense. So you recognize your own movements in this. So this is the introduction. So this is that part. So we continue, because we always do a lot in the Miracle Monday. We cover a lot of territory, and this is the wrong page. Let me see. So it's like lesson 180, just before that. It's a kind of an in-between part of the text that you don't want to read over, like you don't want to miss it. So it's just 3 paragraphs. This is a preparation for, it's like in the Course in Miracles, you have 365 lessons. In fact, for every day there's one. So today's lesson is, I think, 350 something. I can look it up, but 335. Because it's like 365 lessons. It's a whole year. So here we are at point 180. That's the 180th day. That's somewhere in July or something, if you do it by calendar. But what follows is this. It's like you have your lessons, you have your reviews of the lessons. Then we start with lesson 181. So I'll just read the titles. And then I'll start with the paragraphs before that. So the lessons, this is just as an, okay, wow, I didn't know. Kind of an opening by reading the titles, opening of what is following in the lessons after the 180th day. I trust my brothers who are one with me. That's one title. I trust my brothers who are one with me. I will be still an instant and go home. I call upon God's name and on my own. The name of God is my inheritance. I want the peace of God. Salvation of the world depends on me. I bless the world because I bless myself. The peace of God is shining in me now. I feel the love of God within me now. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. I am the Holy Son of God Himself. I have a function God would have me fill. All things are lessons God would have me learn. I place the future in the hands of God. Love is the way I walk in gratitude. It can be but myself I crucify. It can be but my gratitude I earn. Only my condemnation injures me. I am not a body, I am free. And then the last lesson of this series is, there's no peace except the peace of God. So this is where this introduction that I'm going to read to you will lead to. Our next few lessons make a special point of firming up your willingness to make your weak commitment strong. Your scattered goals blend into one intent. You're not asked for total dedication all the time as yet, but you are asked to practice now in order to attain the sense of peace such unified commitment will bestow, if only intermittently. It is experiencing this which makes it sure that you will give your total willingness to following the way the Course sets forth. Our lessons now are geared specifically to widening horizons and direct approaches to the special blocks which keeps your vision narrow and too limited to let you see the value of our goal. We are attempting now to lift these blocks, however briefly. Words alone cannot convey the sense of liberation which their lifting brings, but the experience of freedom and of peace that comes as you give up your tight control of what you see speaks for itself. Your motivation will be so intensified that words become of little consequence. You will be sure of what you want and what is valueless. And so we start our journey beyond words, by concentrating first on what impedes our progress still. Experience of what exists beyond defensiveness remains beyond achievement while it is denied. It may be there, but you cannot accept its presence. So we now attempt to go past all defenses for a little while each day. No more than this is asked, because no more than this is needed. It will be enough to guarantee the rest will come. Okay, so this is what came to me to read and share with you, and which is so great. I love to read it. It's like, oh my God, you have no idea what a blessing, in fact, what an invitation to a blessing this is. It's like unbelievable. So it's like for just a moment during the day, you take time to let these blocks to the awareness of love's presence, letting these being lifted from you for just a moment during the day. It's like a minute would be great. 3 times 1 minute, one day, you feel the peace of God for just a moment. Feel the lifting of this heaviness, the lifting of this tight control that you try to perform in adjusting yourself to this world and trying to survive in it, or trying to deal with it in all its forms, in all its limitations of appearances of limitations, all its symptoms, all its characteristics, all its situations, all its effects and like events, all of that for just a moment. Like if you allow yourself that by just sitting down and practicing this, it's like for 1 minute, if that would be lifted for just 1 minute, you would have a great, wonderful day. And not only that, like you become motivated to dedicate yourself to this even more. So it's like firming up your commitment to this, because it cannot stand still. If it stands still, it is nothing. Like, no, this is growing. It's not pushing or forcing. No, it's attracting. Like it becomes so attractive that you want more and more and more of it. So this is what these exercises, in fact, offer to you. And what the training, the spiritual training that you are doing will give to you, if you dedicate yourself to it, if you have your commitment to it. Just like you decided now to join the 40 days, like that in itself is already a step to come to say, being open to have your commitment being firmed up, become stronger. So we're going to do one of these lessons, just parts of it, or I don't know exactly, we'll see how we do this, but just to give you an idea and give you the opportunity to say, drop your defenses for just a moment, maybe just for 1 minute as an experiment, just letting it go for a second, just not caring about what will happen for just a moment, just to allow yourself that space, like widening your horizon and all this. So that's my pitch to invite you to be ready for this, to receive this for yourself, just as like here is a miracle being offered. Here's a holy instant being offered. 1 moment that you're not limited by time, by attack, you're not limited by any kind of limitation for just a split second. Well, that's not too much to ask, is it? Okay, so here we are. So let's start with 181. It's just a great lesson. So, and we have time to read it. So I'm going to use 181. I trust my brothers who are one with me. So these brothers, who are they? Well, that's you. That's everyone around you. The ones that that cross your path, the ones that are coming to you, the ones that you see during your day, the ones that you meet or think about. All this is your brothers. I trust my brothers who are one with me. So trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. Wow, that's a big sentence, isn't it? Trusting your brothers is essential to establishing and holding up your faith in your ability to transcend doubt and lack of sure conviction in yourself. All right. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. When you attack a brother, so listen carefully. When you attack a brother, you proclaim that he is limited by what you have perceived in him. You do not look beyond his errors. Rather, they are magnified, becoming blocks to your awareness of the self with capital S that lies beyond your own mistakes and past his seeming sins as well as yours. Here's something fundamental. Perception has a focus. It is this which gives consistency to what you see. Change but this focus, and what you behold will change accordingly. Here you change your mind and you see something different. You're familiar with that. So perception as a focus. Your vision now will shift to give support to the intent which has replaced the one you held before. Remove your focus on your brother's sins, and you experience that the peace that comes from faith in sinlessness. Remove your focus from your brother's sins, and you experience the peace that comes from faith in sinlessness. So does this work all the time? Yes. Yes, it does. So you see sinlessness in him like nothing happened. It is completely open. He is love itself. And you start to see that. And because it is the truth about him. But it is not to set him free alone. It is also for yourself. You don't have to carry the conflict of your own judgment, because it brings you in conflict. Now, this is pretty obvious, but I'm just repeating it. And you will not transcend their side and see the sinlessness that lies beyond. Therefore, in practicing today, we will first let all such little focuses give way to a great need to let sinlessness become apparent. We instruct our minds that it is this we seek and only this, for just a little while. So not too much pressure, it's for just a little while. We do not care about our future goals, and what we saw an instant previous has no concern for us within this interval of time, wherein we practice changing our intent. We seek for innocence and nothing else. We seek for it with no concern, but now. So that's a great exercise. So I'll read further, but this is great to just stand still for a moment. So this is what we do in a regular meditation, right? So the past is gone. We leave it for what it is. The future is not there. So we only deal with right now. So right now, is there anyone who does something or who thinks about someone being limited in any form? Give up. Give that up. There's no limitation. There's nothing being done to anyone. It's like just for this instant, while we practice this, use this time for that. Allow something new to happen to you, because you are familiar with attack and seeing sinfulness in your brother too. It's like you're accustomed to it. In your human way of thinking, that's one of the obvious things that we do. We have an idea about everyone. And so for just now, this little exercise, no more than this is asked, no more than this is needed. The rest will follow by itself, it's said in the introduction. The rest will follow. So you just do this for 1 minute. Allowing your brother to be who he is and not anything else. And for one thing, to put your judgment and all your ideas behind and allow a new vision to come to you for just the practice period. So there's not too much risk connected to it. A major hazard, to success, has been the involvement with your past and future goals. You have been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals this course is advocating are from those you held before. You have been quite preoccupied with how extremely different the goals this course is advocating are from those you held before. And you have also been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought that even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again. So this has been a major hazard to success. So you can read it here. It's in black and white. I'm always surprised, like, wow, it's in black and white, written here for me to read it. It's like, oh yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true, it's actually true. A major hazard to success has been the involvement with your past and future goals. Were you preoccupied by them? Yeah. The past too? Yes, absolutely. Are you dreaming about a better past, for instance? Oh yeah, absolutely. That's something that has been occupying my mind, absolutely. So for now, in this period of practice, we're leaving that for what it is. We have a little moments like we vacate our minds to a different experience. We don't let it be occupied by anything else. And just one more time. So, and you have also been dismayed by the depressing and restricting thought that even if you should succeed, you will inevitably lose your way again. Does that sound familiar? Are you afraid of losing your way again and again and again while practicing and thinking, well, yeah, it lifts a little bit, but tomorrow, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it has any continuance in it. That's what you almost give up. But luckily, now you hear that that's not necessary anymore. So it's like, no, this is not working that way. That's just a depressing thought. That's all. So what is a depressing thought? A dead thought. It has no power. It doesn't do anything. And you can occupy your mind with it and sink into the deep black spiral. But if you read this, why would you do that? That's not necessary anymore. It's like there's a way out of this. How could this matter? How could it matter that you're inevitably going to lose your way again if you succeeded this time? How could this matter? For the past is gone and the future but imagined. These concerns are but defenses against present change of focus and perception. It's like you do everything you can to prevent yourself from changing your mind about yourself, nothing more. We lay these pointless limitations by a little while. We do not look to past beliefs, and what we will believe will not intrude upon us now. We enter in the time of practicing with one intent, to look upon the sinlessness within. That's great. So we enter in the time of practicing. So it's very much like, yeah, we carve this out. Like, this is the moment to practice it, and after that you can do whatever you want. But now, for this practice period, we're going to use this. And just try to do it once in this practice. So in that sense, the way it is written is really for like this hopeless, so to speak, hopeless human mind, and that needs mind training. It's like, yeah, that's me. Like, absolutely, I need all the help that I can get in this. It's like, I need some instructor, so to speak, that understands what I'm going through and how I'm thinking and what I'm used to. Well, here it is. I love it. We recognize that we have lost this goal if anger blocks our way in any form. And if a brother's sin occurs to us, our narrowed focus will restrict our sight and turn our eyes upon our mistakes, our own mistakes, which we will magnify and call our sins. So for a while, without regard to past and future, should such blocks arise, we transcend them with instructions to our mind to change their focus, as we say, it is not this that I would look upon. I trust my brothers who are one with me. It is not this that I would look upon. I don't want to look on the sinfulness of my brother, the perceived sins that I perceive in him. That's not what I want to do. I trust my brothers who are one with me. And we will also use these thoughts to keep us safe throughout the day. We do not seek for long-range goals, as each obstruction seems to block the vision to our sinlessness. We seek but to surcease an instant from the misery the focus upon sin will bring, and uncorrected will remain. Okay, so we're almost there. So just 3 more paragraphs before you fall asleep. You stay right here. Nor do we ask for fantasies. Okay, for what we seek to look upon is really there. And as our focus goes beyond mistakes, we will behold a wholly sinless world. When seeing this is all we want to see, when this is all we seek for in the name of true perception, are the eyes of Christ inevitably yours, ours. And the love he feels for us becomes our own as well. This will become the only thing we see reflected in the world and in ourselves. The world which once proclaimed our sins becomes the proof that we are sinless. And our love for everyone we look upon attests to our remembrance of the Holy Self which knows no sin, and never could conceive of anything without its sinlessness. Okay, so here's the instruction. We seek for this remembrance as we turn our minds to practicing today. We look neither ahead nor backwards. We look straight into the present, and we give our trust to the experience we ask for now. Our sinlessness is but the will of God. The instant is our willing one with this. I trust my brothers who are one with me. So we take a moment to let this happen. We look straight into the present. We leave the past for what it is. We leave the future for what it is. Like, I trust my brothers who are one with me. So we're going to take a look at our brothers inside our mind. It's like we do this inwardly. And be still and listen and see what is being presented to us. So let's do that. Let's take a moment for that. So I want to end this moment together with a prayer, and it's prayer 270, so that's on the 270th day. I will not use the body's eyes today. Father, Christ's vision is your gift to me, and it has power to translate all that the body's eyes behold into the sight of a forgiven world. How glorious and gracious is this world! Yet how much more will I perceive in it than sight can give? The world forgiven signifies your Son acknowledges his Father, lets his dreams be brought to truth, and waits expectantly the one remaining instant more of time, which ends forever as your memory returns to him. And now his will is one with yours. His function now is but your own, and every thought except your own is gone. The quiet of today will bless our hearts, and through them peace will come to everyone. Christ is our eyes today, and through his sight we offer healing to the world through him, the Holy Son whom God created whole, the Holy Son whom God created one. Amen. So thank you so much for joining me in this Miracle Monday, which was pretty packed. Great. So thank you for your participation in this and for your attention. And I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Thank you so much.